Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 389. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Imagine developing your intellectual property and other assets to expand your influence on your writing journey. Our next guest co-owns the Bestseller Academy, known as the Book Boss. Welcome, Mwale Henry.
Hey, Dr. Richards.
You're welcome. I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps, what you want our audience to know about you and your business?
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here in your community. And I want to shout you out as well for holding the space for so many Black entrepreneurs. I know it's an inspiration to me as a young Black entrepreneur as myself, seeing you holding the space for us. So hats off to you and your team. In terms of what else you need to know about me, if you're hearing my voice, I'm a Trini. I'm from the Caribbean. I'm actually doing this interview in Trinidad, having some time with my family over here. And has always been my desire and always had that mission of not just building a business, not just building a legacy, but living a legacy. And that's always been our focus as a team, as a family. So that's just a little nugget as I send some of you some sand, sun, and sea as you listen to this podcast interview.
Talking about legacy, when it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as someone who lifted others up. I think that's been a journey of mine. You know, coming from the Caribbean, we know sometimes in third world countries, developing societies, there is a recurring discussion of scarcity. And sometimes we believe being able to be successful has to be at the cost of someone else. So if you're applying for a job, there are only a few jobs. If you're applying for a position, there are only a few positions. So seeing entrepreneurship, the majority of jobs and opportunities have always been amongst the state sector. And most people, seldom persons will pursue in the area of entrepreneurship. And for me, the entrepreneurship journey allowed me to expand choices, right? Because we define entrepreneurship as freedom, right? And for me, when I see entrepreneurship as an opportunity, is really to create freedom, and that freedom allows me to create opportunities for others. So it gives me the ability to lift others up. So I want to be remembered as that person that had the liberty to lift others up, because entrepreneurship gives you an abundant mindset, right? Not from scarcity, but from a place of abundance, giving others the opportunity. And once you allow others to win, you win automatically.
Why books? Why did you go into the book industry?
A great question, Doc. It started around about 14 years ago when, in my personal journey, my background is in management consultancy. So I was the youngest management consultant with the Franklin Covey Institute in Latin America and Caribbean. And as I started my journey in supporting other companies in efficiency, in leadership, and management, I discovered that your story is your unique service proposition, because there are many people who offer services in many areas, and more so in the area of information age. You could find expertise, information on anything that you're looking for. But what allows persons to choose you, to work with you, to see you, to stop and pause is your story, your ability to speak about your journey. And telling your story is an opportunity for persons to see themselves in you. So every time I worked with companies, one of the key things we did, we sat down to ask the question, why are you doing this? What's inspiring you? What's causing you to work in this area? It's like the Shark Tank. Every time you see in Shark Tank, they pitch the product. But what allows an investor to invest in the product is what is ticking you, what is motivating you as an entrepreneur. So it started off with the journey of sitting business leaders down and asking them that why question. And in unpacking that story, we were able to support them in packaging their intellectual property into books, coaching programs, corporate training, retreats, etc. And then we build a business system around that so that they could discover their ideal clients.
Who is your ideal client?
For me, anyone who sees themselves as a thought leader, expert, coach, or consultant, and they are looking to package their intellectual property. They've probably worked in the professional space, executive level, and they're looking to transition into building their own business. Now, we always say it's time for you not to package your intellectual property, and you're looking to build a business around it, an idea around it, a movement around that. So our ideal clients are those who are looking to work B2B, want to be able to package their intellectual property in various types of products and services, and moreover, want to build a system around it so that they can monetize it and make an impact.
Speaking of impact, how do you make impact daily?
For me, well, it starts with my family. I have two beautiful children. My son, he's 5. His name is Princeton. And my daughter, she's 3. Her name is Genesis. My first impact every day is how can I be a better father and more so a greater husband. My wife, as you mentioned, we are co-founders of the Bestsellers Academy. And for me, success is not just about hitting the income goals, being able to manage a team globally, but more so being a great example to my wife as a husband, and more so being an example to my 2 children. So that's for me is my starting point of success. Once I take those other 2 off, I think I could be of great service to my clients. And my service to my clients allows them to answer the question that success is not just the income goals, which we hit, creation of products, which we always do, being able to stand on stages, which we get them, before TEDx stages, being able to be an unforgettable speaker, which we do, but more so, how do you tie your impact to the type of change that you want in your clients? So we use a formula that we shared in 2001, where we talked about how do you use your message to build that into a movement, lifting up others. And in 2010, we built a system, and then we were able to execute that system during the pandemic, where we were able to help many people find their ideal client, own their voice, grow a business by over 300%, and have others discover ideal clients during a time where, everyone is just pulling back or probably reeling at the effects of the pandemic. So for us, building a business is not just about success, but it's about significance, how you can lift others up as you journey through your life as an entrepreneur.
Fill in the blank. Thank you,
Okay.
pandemic, because.
Thank you, pandemic, because you taught me that successful people are always looking for successful people during a crisis. As I mentioned to you before, our biggest business growth was during the pandemic. Infusionsoft, fondly known as Keep, gave our business, the Bestsellers Academy, the Best Business, Small Business of the Year award, because they saw the growth of our business by 300%, and they saw others who grew with us as well. So I want to encourage entrepreneurs that in difficult times, successful people are always looking for a solution. During the pandemic, everyone was repeating things are hard, it's tough. But during times of difficulties, your ideal client, the people you want to work with who are solution-oriented, looking for a way to pivot, they are looking for you. And we were able to help entrepreneurs stay in the market, not just talk about pivot, but the pandemic taught us perseverance. And our ideal clients found us, and we were able to grow tremendously during that time.
How do you define success?
I mentioned it before. It's about significance. The growth that we had during the pandemic, I was able to look back at my community that I grew up on the island in Trinidad. One of the most difficult things, apart from access to vaccine, was food. I was able to fly my team out to Trinidad, build a hydroponic system, growing over 2,000 plants, being able to feed a community consistently. I think for me, that's what success is, making opportunities for others. So I always say to clients, an income goal gives you options, but making impact really helps you build a legacy. So for me, success is defined as significance.
I want you to have a monologue and I want you to name this person, living or not. This person has inspired you so much. Who is that person and what are you saying to that person?
That's a beautiful question. It will be my mother. She's 78. And every time people ask me the question, who is my biggest hero? It will be my mother. Dad, if you're listening to this, yes, you're my hero too. But mommy, she has my heart. Grew up in a family, two brothers, two sisters. I'm the last. And my mother is the message of the story of resilience. Whenever I think of you, I remember your journey of leaving your home at 14 years of age, having to work as a domestic worker in the Caribbean, having to find your way. You weren't able to finish what we call primary school or elementary school. Didn't know how to write, but you had your wits. And for me, that has always been an inspiration to me. The wisdom that you give to me, you could sit in any boardroom. You can stand before presidents. And moreover, even at the age of 60, I saw you went back to university. And that showed me, resilience is everything. Even when I had to hold your hands to help you write, even when you were so nervous and you were so afraid, you never gave up. And that to me is an inspiration because we live in the microwave generation where we think success just happens. But to see you've truly taught me the lesson that success is a journey. It's not a destination.
What is the best decision you've made as a leader?
The best decision. I would say the best decision that I've made as a leader is seeing the value of others. I think for me, when in building a team, sometimes you have a great vision, and sometimes as entrepreneurs, you're solopreneurs. I'll give you an example. When I met my wife about just 11 years ago, it was my first time to America. And my first time to the US was in Las Vegas. And clearly what happens in Vegas didn't stay in Vegas because when I met Chantel, baby, I love you. I know you're listening on. When I met her, it was in an audience of over 20,000 people. And I left a professional career. I worked in the private sector. I was able to work with the Prime Minister of my island, organized international conferences, met President Obama, the Queen of England. It was a really high time in my life. But when I met Chantel in that line of 20,000 people, it reminded me of that story that sometimes success is not really a matter of time, but it's a matter of team. And I want to encourage entrepreneurs who are out there, you think that it has to be always solo, in the grind, getting it done, probably even protecting your vision, probably thinking people won't believe you. But sometimes there's a time where when your vision is so big, it requires you to coalesce a team around it. And she has become my greatest team member. And the greatest decision of my leadership is exposing my vision to someone who's not just my wife, but my business partner. So I think I want to encourage every business owner out there that there will come a time when your vision is big enough, it's going to require a team.
The word is listening. What is that resounding sound or message that your generation is saying we should be listening to?
Authenticity. Authenticity. I grew up in church, so I'm a little church boy. I remember this memory verse. It's taken from Romans chapter 12. Be not conformed to this world. And this generation, with the advent of technology, there's this oversaturation of content and information that now even the greatest developers of content, from the Netflix to YouTube, they are realizing that popularity does not equate to impact. So there are persons who may have millions of followers on Twitter. Impact is only found where people resonate with authenticity. And our generation is realizing that more and more. The ad dollars are realizing that more and more. They are no longer investing in persons because of their following or their audiences. They're looking for impact and engagement. So I think the cry of this generation is people are desiring and craving something more. They've gone through the modeling and the imitation and the following, but now people are looking for persons who are authentic. And that's why storytelling is so much more critical. So that's the sound that is being played right now across each board. You can look at it. Look at it. YouTube, they are developing content. They're investing in content creators, people who don't have popular names, but they are resonated to segments of the market. So even as someone who's building a business right now, I want to say to you, it's not about expanding and touching everyone. Find the segment in your market because people are craving authenticity.
Someone is listening and they're saying, how did you pick your wife out of 20,000 people?
That's a good question. How did I pick? Well, let me be honest. I wouldn't say that I picked her. I would say we picked each other, but our selection happened at different times. So let me put it this way. When I went to Vegas, it's an international conference, and there were thousands of people. So we were organized by nations. So people were lining up to go. And the alpha male and me, my friend was talking to her, and I saw from a distance, like, who's he talking to? I know he doesn't know anyone from here. We just came off the island. It's our first time in the US. So I'm like, all right, I'll be that alpha male. So I stepped up. I'm 6'1", Chantel, she's 5'2", so I was towering over her. And she turned around, we locked eyes. And what I would say resonated in me was, number one, in our conversations, she spoke to things that I would say in my time of meditation and prayer, of what I was looking for in someone. So I would say the first thing you want to find in selecting a mate is, do they speak to some of the most sacred parts of you? Or do they honor the most sacred parts of you without you having to explain? And that was the first part. The second aspect for me was she spoke to my pathway of obedience. I remember leaving Trinidad, and I was just in America for 3 days, and I was actually heading to Canada to do some postgraduate research. I remember, hearing God say to me, I'm not imposing my belief on anyone, but I call him God. He's my savior. For those of you, you may refer to him as in different names, but I remember him saying to me that whatever opportunities you meet, whatever you see, there will be a time I want you to come back home and do something of significance. So meeting this young lady, she had running a PR firm in Atlanta. She did some work in Washington, D.C., working with lobbying firms like Aspen Institute. She's a college professor in Clark Atlanta University. I'm like, oh, there's no way she'll want to be coming back to Trinidad. And I kid you not, Dr. Richards, as I stood there on the third day of this conference, thinking to myself, this was a great experience. It ends here. She simply turns to me and said, Mwale, wherever you go, I will follow you. And that was it. It confirmed to me her willingness to be on this crazy journey with me. And 2 years later, she came to Trinidad and she's like, I love this place. I want to visit this place as often as possible. It's a great place to raise a family, and she fell in love with it. So my advice to anyone, if you're selecting someone, they have to be attached to your future. Sometimes dating is about fun and excitement, but if you want to build a true partnership, it has to be attached to your future. Have the sober conversations. What do you desire to do in 5 years, 3 years, 10 years? It may sound boring for some people, especially our millennials, but it's necessary if you want to build something that's lasting.
Thank you for sharing that story. There's so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
Oh, great. I would say Apple. I admire Apple. I know my Android fans are like, boo. I'll say Apple, and I'll say why. Apple has been able to design what we at the Bestsellers Academy model. It's called an ecosystem. Gone are the days where you attract clients based on a funnel. You're trying to attract person and sort clients out. People are looking for community. They're looking for a place of belonging. They're looking for a place where they can call home, where they don't have to leave to find another product or service. And Apple embodies that. From the time you interface with an iPhone, you want the Apple Watch, you want the MacBook, you want the Mac, you want all of the products. You want the AirPods. And by the time you've gone through that income ecosystem, a new version comes out. And then you replenish all of your other items. And that's the same model we teach at the Bestsellers Academy. How do you build an income ecosystem of all of your products and services packaged from your book to your course, to your retreat, to your corporate training programs? By the time people have those different experiences at different price points, they are now able to experience your business at its evolutionary stage. So for me, Apple embodies that concept. More so, it allows many businesses to break the cycle of feast and famine, where you find a client, they experience your product and service, and then you have to go and find another client to experience their product and service. So you're always going through cycles of feast and famine. So many of our clients, they come to us to break that cycle of feast and famine, where clients now find community, they find space, they find home, and they're able to build a business long term. It increases their customer lifetime value. It decreases their client acquisition costs. So for me, Apple is a great inspiration of that. They've been able to hold market share because they have mastered the idea of income ecosystem. And that's what we embody at the Bestsellers Academy.
Take us on a journey. If someone came into the academy, take us on that experience.
Oh, great question. So we call it the Bestsellers Experience. And we take you through, it's a year experience. You follow 3 steps. And we take you from really being very, very clear on your idea. These stages, we call it mastery, monetization, momentum. 3 phases. And in each phase, there are 3 key areas or 9 steps. And in the mastery step, we first focus on helping you be clear on your idea. Be very, very clear. And secondly, identifying your audience. And thirdly, creating the assets to support that audience. But the reason we take that time within the first 3 months to master your idea, master your audience, and create the assets, because we want you to focus on discovering your ideal client. And then the second phase is to monetize, building systems around that, having the confidence to do direct sales, which is offering what we call high ticket valued products. All right. We're not just talking about the $1,500 products, but we're talking about moving $20,000 sales, $30,000 sales. We're talking about lifestyle changing income that gives you the type of impact and cash flow that you're looking for. And then developing partnerships. And the final phase, we take you through how do you brand on your social media? How do you get the right podcasts and press and have the paid advertisements? So it's a really, really exciting experience. We've been able to work with so many people from the likes of Lisa Nichols up to Grace Van der Cruz, people who are thought leaders in the space, those who are now launching a business to be able to master, monetize, and go into momentum in their business.
So, Mwale, if you lost everything and you had to build in 30 days, what would you do to rebuild, and what industry and why?
Oh, good question. If I had to do it in 30 days, what industry and why? I didn't expect this question, but it's an easy one. It would be the same industry that I'm in. And what would I do to rebuild? I strongly believe that success is attached to systems. And most people believe that, success is probably tied to the color of your skin, the opportunities, your geographic location. You're listening to a Caribbean boy who started off, experiencing homelessness to having a business. We're based in Atlanta. We have clients all over the world, from the UK to South Africa to Australia. And the reason for that is that we follow systems. So I would follow that same system I just outlined of how do you master your message, monetize that message, and go into momentum. It's a proven system because systems help you save yourself time, effort, and energy. And, it's like my mom. She said, your father isn't the most perfect man, but if I have to marry someone all over again, I'll marry him because I know it.
What is the goal for the Bestsellers Academy?
Good question. So the goal for us at the Bestsellers Academy is really truncating the time coaches, experts, and consultants would have been taking to package their intellectual property, struggling to find their ideal clients, tired of speaking to their warm markets, posting on Facebook, doing, Facebook Lives, and not connecting. So the goal of the Bestsellers Academy is to help you connect, to discover, connect, and convert your ideal client and build a community around that. So that's our prime objective, helping you build the products, discover your ideal clients, and we put you in front of your ideal clients. And then we help you to connect with them, convert them, and build community with them. And that's our core message and our core objective. That's our North Star.
If you could spend time with one person, living or not, who would you have dinner with, and what conversation are you having with that person?
Good question. I would say Nelson Mandela. Why? We share the same birthday, the 18th of July. And the conversation that I have with him would have been how difficult was it for him to straddle between not just leaving his past of going through the torn history of apartheid and being able to create a brighter future for South Africa. So I think my question would be, how do you navigate being pragmatic? It's the same journey we go through even as business owners, right? Working with people, working with clients, and how do you make those types of decisions? Meaning sometimes you may be working people, it may not be ideal, versus how do you build types of partnerships for the future? So I think that would be a really interesting conversation. And then, my wife, she lived there for a year. We're planning to go there for our anniversary this year. If I had the opportunity to talk to Nelson Mandela, I could tell her, hey, I spoke to Nelson Mandela. You lived there, but I spoke to him.
What problem exists in the world today that you'd like to solve?
Great question. I think the problem I see a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with is being able to have a predictable system of discovering clients that they are called to serve. But that's fundamentally different because I've learned very early in my entrepreneurship journey, all money ain't good money. And I think that's been a struggle that I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs. They've abandoned, Dr. Richards, their core message and mission they started off with to simply say, hey, I just need to get some business. And they've lost their identity, they've lost their drive. And truth be told, Dr. Richards, they've picked up another job in the form of a business. For me, is to really give entrepreneurs the hope again that there are people who they are called to serve. And it just requires you to refine your message. It's like the Pied Piper's tune. It's a whistle, it's a song that only they can hear. If you stay in the lane of your authenticity, you speak in the area of your power, they will hear you and you alone. They will find you alone, and they will choose you every time. So that's the problem that we solve. And we've seen that so many times When the light bulb is open, people are like, I no longer want to be that imposter living in this shell that I know is not genuinely me. Own that power, speak boldly to it, serve brilliantly to it. And every time they say, thank you, Mwale, I'm now enjoying what I've been called to do and serving the people who have been called to serve.
Advice you wish you had followed.
Advice I wish I had followed. I don't know why I'm pausing it because I know what's the advice. Being an entrepreneur sooner, I was afraid. I would say it boldly. I was afraid. I was afraid of taking a chance on me. And I believe the lie that a job is security. So I was really, really hesitant. And I really attribute that to me taking that leap as an entrepreneur to my wife. Because when we met while we were dating, there were a lot of consultancy gigs I was doing while holding my corporate job. And she said to me, sometimes you just need to trust your brilliance, Mwale. And there are people who seeking what you have to offer. So for those who have thinking about taking the leap, I say jump. And for those who've taken the leap and you're probably doubting yourself, I say run. Don't slow down, run. So the advice I would have given my former self, you should have taken the leap much sooner.
A snapshot over the last 30 days. What was your biggest win?
Oh, great question. Last 30 days, my health, I lost 15 pounds. I'm actually doing carnivore diet. I've been doing it for the past 3 months. And it just feels good to have more energy. I said to you, I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they're not going to let up. They don't want to know how many meetings that I've taken, how many trips, how many conferences I managed. So the last 30 days was just seeing that change and feeling that difference has been my biggest win. My son, he asked me, he said, Dad, why are you not wearing your wedding ring? And I said to him, because I've lost so much weight in my fingers, it keeps slipping off. So my wife had to take it to get resized. So he's like, oh, okay. So it was just interesting to see that even your children, they know the symbols of love. And he's like, why are you not wearing? She's like, oh, so you're shrinking? I said, I'm not shrinking. So every time he says I'm shrinking, my daughter, she intervenes and said, no, my daddy, he's strong. He's not shrinking. But that's my biggest win, being able to have that healthy weight loss and fundamentally change my diet has given me a lot of more energy and has just given me a lot more time to serve more brilliant.
And how do you celebrate your wins?
I think, first of all, by acknowledging it, because as leaders and as entrepreneurs, we always move from one win to the next, to the next, to the next, without actually stopping and pausing. So the first thing is acknowledgement. I do that, even though I'm aware of it, but saying it out openly, because especially as men, we always hitting another goal. So I'm like, okay, Mwale, you just lost 15 pounds. That's a big deal. So by just saying it, acknowledging, that's the first thing. And secondly, adopted a routine of self-care. So every 2 months, I go have a little spa, do a little face mask, pedicure, manicure, Yeah, brothers, my wife has converted me. I think she did that just so that, I wouldn't be like, why are you always going for your spa treatments? So she's like, okay, you come along too. So I do that. And just to celebrate my wins, to remind myself that I have one vehicle, that's this body. I have no do-overs. So to treat this vessel, to take me through the journey of life is one of the greatest investments you could make.
What is your most costly lesson you have learned in life or business?
Most costly lesson. I would say one of the most costly lessons I would have learned in life would have been in my time as a postgrad student when I was in Canada. I wouldn't use the word gullible, but I was I remember losing about $30,000 in scholarship money because I used a unsecure Wi-Fi network, and someone hacked my account, took money out of my account. And I remember I was impatient because I was just looking for a network to connect. You know, us millennials, right? No internet, we feel like like the world is coming to an end. So that connection, out of desperation and impatience, cost me over $20,000. But also it led me to be evicted from campus. I was homeless for about 3 months, sleeping on a park bench. And I remember in that time of my life, I was in so much self-doubt. You know, I questioned myself. I was in a part in Canada. It's called Calgary. If anyone knows, Calgary is extremely cold. It was minus 30 degrees. I was in a community that was 99.99% Caucasian. No one looked like me, sounded like me. And I really, really felt like an abject failure. But the lesson of, perseverance made it key to me. It was actually during that time, Dr. Richards, I wrote my first book, while sleeping in a basement, The Power of Identity, 7 steps to overtake and dominate. And the biggest key from that about my identity was forgiveness. I had to learn to forgive myself. It was a costly lesson financially, but that was a key lesson, learning to forgive myself and being able to start over again.
Talk about mental wellness and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, for entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time, Dr. Richards, really focusing on systems and products and marketing and partnerships and business. But I've learned that your capacity of wealth will only grow or rise as high as your personal development. One of the things that we do as a business is being able to invest in personal development. Our team, for me as a CEO, we spend time. I consistently spend time in having time of meditation, time of reflection. I was talking to one of my friends and I said to him, the greatest value I have now is silence. After you're in this noisy place, the greatest gift that I give to myself is silence. Just no phone, no music, no internet, just being still and being able to hear my own thoughts. So I want to encourage, entrepreneurs, that mental health and well-being, being able to be reflective, be reflexive, think intentionally and deeply is going to be one of the greatest gifts you could give to yourself. And moreover, build it in your budget to have time of personal development. We do it as a team. We have retreats where we go to either Bahamas or to Tobago, and we bond as a team and we reflect and we retool, and it opens up space so that we can have opportunities to think more innovatively. So I think that's key to your business growth.
If you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Okay, that's a good question. So, Mwale, after 15 years being in this industry, why haven't you stopped? And my answer would be seeing people find their second win. That has been my greatest joy. When I see clients who've either gone through the divorce and they're looking to ask themselves the question or looking for the answer of what's next, and we've been able to sit with them and they find their voice, own their voice, leverage their voice, has been such a rewarding experience. Being able to see people who are so brilliant, Dr. Richards, and they're so close to their genius that they just need someone to pull them back to see not just how brilliant they are, but how masterful they are in the world. When I see young Black men who are so esteemed in their professions, from persons who are NASA scientists to people who work on Wall Street, being able to support them in repackaging their ideas to make a great impact. I remember Dorian, he comes to mind, where he's a physicist, a Black physicist, and he works with NASA scientists. And he's like, Mwale, I love my job, but I want to make a great impact. And he works with young men to help them increase their performance level in STEM, specifically in math. And they got, basketball scholarships, but they were just struggling in math. And being able to sit with him to take his expertise, his thesis, and convert that thesis into a book called Physics and Basketball, the writer's guide to win on and off the court. And being able to see young men not just have a skill, but also be successful as they journey in their passion is so rewarding. He was given an award by the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry, acknowledged his work and his programs. So being able just to see people take their expertise and give that to the world is the greatest gift. And that's what allows me to keep on keeping on, the Dorians of this world.
That's a beautiful story. We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Rapid Round of Fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to give me very quick answers.
Okay.
If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Rapid Round of Fun?
All right, let's go.
What is your comfort food?
Mincemeat.
The last movie you saw?
Coach Carter.
You relax doing what?
Listening to instrumentals.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Lecrae.
Your favorite dance song?
I have so much. But I'll say Lecrae. Yeah, Lecrae.
What food you eat every week no matter what?
Ooh, good one. I love boiled eggs. No matter what.
Work out or hit the couch?
Work out.
Mwale Henry, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and do business with you, and feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much to you, Dr. Richards, to your community, and to those who are listening. You can definitely connect with us at thebestsellersacademy.com. We look forward to supporting you, moreover, helping you to connect, convert, and more importantly, build community with those who you're looking to serve. Thebestsellersacademy.com.
Thank you. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.